Hey guys, this is TooSaucery again, and this is my story about how I potentially lost $17,400 on Diablo 3. So right now what you're seeing on the screen is a new monk that I've started. And I've started this new monk because I just bought Diablo 3 for the third time. Now you're probably wondering why I've bought Diablo 3 three times for myself, and that's simply because Blizzard has banned my collector's edition and my second account that I used for auction house purposes. And this is why I was wrongly banned. During patch 1.6 I believe it was, I had started gaining a lot of gold by flipping items on the auction house. I started with around 20 million gold, and in about 3 weeks I had over 30 billion gold and around 300 Radiant Star gems which I had stockpiled. I had planned on selling the gems during the new patch that was scheduled to come out fairly soon, and I figured with the increased amount of users being on that may drive the prices up and I could unload all my gems for a higher amount at a very quick rate. So patch day hits. I come home from work that afternoon, logged on to Diablo 3, and noticed the gems had not only gone up in price, they had tripled in price. Radiant Star gems of all colors were now going for over 70 million gold a gem. So I decided to sell all of my gems, and they sold quick. Within 20 minutes, all 300 Radiant Star gems had sold, and I had profited over 30 billion gold. I now had a fortune of just over 60 billion gold in total, and the first thing I figured I was going to do was sell all of my gold, as the current rate before the patch was 29 cents per million, and I was going to make a lot of money in real life off of this. So I go to the real money auction house and realize that the gold ceiling for the gold in-game had actually dropped, and my currency was not as valuable as I thought it was anymore. The price in gold was now around 50 cents per 10 million, and no longer 29 cents per million, so it was a pretty big drop in price. Which really sucked, because if it was still going for 29 cents per million, I would have made $17,400 worth of gold, but instead I now only had about $3,000 worth of gold, which is still a very large amount of gold, don't get me wrong, or money rather, but it was only a fraction of what I could have had. But in any case, it explained why the gem prices had gone up so much. The cost of gold on the real money auction house was just so cheap at the moment that everyone was buying gold. So at this point, I decided that I was just going to try and cash out all the gold that I had on the real money auction house, before the gold prices dropped down any lower or anything else changed at that point in time. And if I needed more gold, I could always just continue to flip items like I had been doing for the recent weeks. So I had just over 60 billion gold, and you're only able to post 10 auctions at maximum per account, and my main account had all 10 auction house slots already filled with items that I was flipping. So I decided to sell the gold on my secondary account that I purchased just for the 10 extra auction slots. So 60 divided by 6 is 10, so that's what I did, 10 auctions of 6 billion gold each rather. I posted the auctions, and to my horror, the display screen only showed that I had 10 auctions of 1.7 billion gold each. At this time I'm panicking. Did I just lose 4.3 billion gold on each of my auctions? That would have been 43 billion gold total lost. So I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I ended up doing the only thing that I thought I could do, was just cancel my auctions at that time. I realized I had more than 17 billion gold, so I was happy that it didn't disappear on me, and I just reposted my 10 auctions of 6 billion gold each again. And once again I look at the display screen again where it currently shows the active auctions. I have 10 auctions of 1.7 billion gold when I clearly posted 6 billion gold auctions. Really annoyed at this point. I close the auction house, open it back up, it still shows 1.7. I exit the game completely, open it back up, still shows my auctions at 1.7 billion gold per auction at this point. So I start to think, if I leave my auctions and if they end up selling, am I only going to get 1.7 billion gold worth of auctions? And if that's the case, it's pretty unacceptable. So I decide that I'm just going to pull my auctions off of the auction house, wait several hours, or till the next day if that's what it takes, till Blizzard gets it sorted out. So I cancel those auctions, and then I just start browsing the auction house for things to flip again so I can profit and make more gold, because that's what I do. And to my disbelief at this point, I now notice that I have over 120 billion gold. But where the hell did this extra 60 billion gold come from, or more at that point? I was really beyond confused, so I go to the Blizzard forums, and I don't see anything. There's no blue post, there's nobody posting about this at all. I continue to browse those forums for 10 minutes, and finally I see a post by some random user. It was titled Duping or something along the lines of that. I ended up clicking it and just start reading about how all these Twitch streamers on Twitch TV are duping items because of some real money auction house bug. So they ended up leaving a link to one of the Twitch streamers in the post. I ended up watching the stream. And in the stream, the streamer is just giving out billions of gold and items to players that he just bought off the auction house. And he explained how if you put any amount above 6 billion gold on the auction house, any amount higher than that on the real money auction house, and then just canceled your auction immediately after, the gold that you will receive is double the amount that you put up on the auction house. So a bug that Blizzard caused allowed you to dupe in game, simply by just using the auction house. At this point, I'm pretty upset about this, and you might ask why I was upset, and the reason was because I realized I technically broke the terms of service, even if it was on accident. And I knew that it was something that they were going to be able to trace very easily because they keep track on their real money auction house transactions and what goes on with it. And I knew it was only a matter of hours before my second account, which I paid $60 for, was going to be suspended, and that I would have to appeal through the ticket system to see if I could get it back or not. So at this point, I decide that I'm going to take my 60 billion gold that is mine off of this account. I transfer the 60 billion gold back over to my main account. It was the gold that I made myself, and I left all the dupe gold that didn't belong to me on my second account. I had no reason to take it, it wasn't mine, and I knew it was going to be removed. So I left it there. After I was done doing that, I ended up emailing Blizzard, explained what was going on with the real money auction house, the bug, what happened, my accounts, and I requested that they roll my account back, or just remove the gold that didn't belong to me at this point. By now I've calmed down a bit. I knew I did the proper thing. I've notified Blizzard. Even if the account does get suspended, I know that they'll end up fixing it for me, right? Well, 15 minutes rolls by, and finally the community manager posts on the forums stating that there was a dupe that was going on, which, to be honest, I was kind of shocked and surprised that they actually admitted to it, because something like this, they usually don't say anything. It's usually rather hush-hush. But I guess there was so many people doing it by accident, and so many people who were abusing it, and it had gone so widespread known at this point that they couldn't really hide it. And so the rest of the post was just stating that they were taking the auction house offline, which was the obvious thing to do so they could stop people from doing it. Minutes, and I mean minutes, after that had happened, I tried logging onto my second account and it had already been suspended. Not banned, but only suspended, which, to be honest, was expected. So I logged back onto my main account. I had a level 28 monk, I think it was, so I decided I was going to level it just for fun. Played on it for about 4 hours, logged off, then I ended up doing some things around the house for maybe 3 hours or whatever. Then I logged back on the account, probably played for another 3 hours, and then out of nowhere I got disconnected. Kind of annoyed by this, so obviously I just tried to log back in. And can you guess what I was looking at this point? It was a box that stated my account had been suspended. I nerd raged at this point, just shut my computer down for the night and went to bed. The next day I logged on, and I seen a forum post by a community manager stating how at this point in time they are filtering out dupe gold from accounts, and in some cases rolling accounts back altogether. So I'm still annoyed because I can't play my main account, but I figured I'm somewhat pleased because I know that my second account will be fine and they'll be getting rid of that dupe gold by either filtering it out or rolling it back. The day ends up passing by and I can't play Diablo 3 at all. So the next day rolls around. Before I end up going to work in the morning, I log on to Battle.net and notice that my account status had been changed from suspended to banned. What the hell, Blizzard? So I call customer support on my way to work, and the first person I talk to states that they can't help me, and just to submit a ticket, and they have no information at all, don't really know anything. So I just hang up on this person, because I figured, I know how call centers work, that some people just don't know what's going on, or they don't know how to handle the situations, or just try and pass it on to the next person, or whatever automated system they have in place. So I call back, and the next agent that I speak to from Blizzard is completely rude to me. She had a tone in her voice the entire time that I talked to her. She was probably the worst call center agent I had ever spoken to in my life, and I just wanted to slap her in the face. But the end result answer I got from her, and I quote, this is what she said: Blizzard can ban you for any reason they want, at any point in time they want, because you agreed to it in the terms of service. And boy, did I ever blow up on her. I asked to speak with her supervisor, and she refused, which made me even more mad. I couldn't honestly get any help from her at all. She just kept refusing her supervisor. Finally, after about 15 minutes, she ended up giving me her supervisor's GM email address. So I email it, wait most of the day, I get no response, and didn't get any response from it at all, ever. Even till this point in time, there's still never been a response. So I'm pretty sure it was just a fake email address to get me off the phone. Was great customer service. Good job, guys. Later that day, I calmed down a bit, decided I was going to give it another shot. I called back and actually got someone who kind of knew what they were talking about. He kindly explained to me that they don't have the tools to investigate accounts as good as the team that's currently looking into the matter, and that I would just need to submit a ticket to the appeals team. So I figured that answer was fine enough, and that I wasn't going to get anywhere from calling these guys at all. So I submit tickets for both of my accounts to have them both appealed, and within a few hours I got email responses back for them stating that both accounts have been banned for breaking the terms of service. So once again I end up going to the Blizzard Diablo 3 forums, and there are tons of people with the same email. No actual responses of why you're banned, just that you broke the terms of service and your account is banned. And then apparently there was tons of people who didn't even dupe gold that got banned. People who just received dupe gold from selling items on the auction house. They came in contact with the gold and they were banned. And then there were other users who had large quantity of golds or gems, and they just got their accounts banned in general for being rich at the game. And I just so happened to fall into all three categories. I had a ton of legit gold I made myself. I had a huge amount of gems before I sold them. And I had billions of gold that I had duped that are just sitting on a second account. So I had no real answer as to why I was banned, but I figured it must have been one of those. I appealed the accounts once again, and I get a response. And it wasn't a very good response. It was just a very generic response. It said the account had already been reviewed and will not be reviewed any further. So I appeal my account again, and again, and again, and again. I've probably appealed my account over 100 times now, and that's no joke. And they just closed the tickets within a matter of minutes, and the ticket response is just this account has already been reviewed and it's not going to be reviewed again. And so I get no real answer as to why my account is closed. And I've opened up the web chat to speak with those GMs, and I try to talk to them about it, and they just state that they cannot tell me why the account was banned. But all they'll say is that it was due to breaking the terms of service. They'll tell me that it broke the terms of service, but they won't tell me what I did to break the terms of service. So it's a pretty broken system, and really makes no sense to me, to be honest. But I try to explain my story to the GMs and tell them how I could understand that the terms of service on my one account, the second account, was broken because I did dupe the gold, even if it was on accident, due to a bug caused by Blizzard when they launched their patch. So something that I had no control over that they did. And I explained to the GM that all he needed to do was go on my main account, review the auction history that day, and see that there were no auctions made because all of the auction slots were filled on that account from the previous day. So if no auctions were actually made, that was hard proof right there that no duping occurred on my main account, which means no terms of service was broken, because it is treated as a separate service from my other account. And the answer I get back from the GM at this point in time is that he won't even look at it, and no one at Blizzard will ever look into it again, because my account has already been looked into, and it has been set to do not review again. Which is completely messed up, because all of the Diablo 3 Twitch streamers who are duping billions of gold and just giving it away to users and sharing the method publicly with every one of these people on their streams, they were all banned. And after the investigation, every single one of them were unbanned. But someone like myself who didn't even give away gold, didn't buy anything with it, just let it sit there on the account. I even sent in an email request asking for it to be removed. I get a permanent ban. And I could not even get an answer from the GM about this, about the Twitch users. The only response I got from him was, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" Over the following weeks after the ban, I had the same conversation with maybe 5 or 6 GMs. Each conversation probably ended up in like an hour-long argument with the GM, because for whatever reason they decided not to close out the windows on me. But all of those ended up with the same answer, that they wouldn't look into it because they're just not reviewing it, which is just stupid. And then finally, a few days ago, which is now more than half a year after the whole Diablo 3 banning, I had an issue where I sent some mail to the wrong character on World of Warcraft. And I ended up opening GM web chat to get him to return my mail back to me. And after that, he asked me if there was anything else he could help me with. So what do you think I did? I ended up asking him about Diablo 3. I figured nothing would come of it, but I quickly explained to him the Diablo 3 situation. and was just asking for the account to be unbanned. I didn't explain to him that I was asking him why the account was banned, like everyone else who refused to tell me why my main account was banned. And in the conversation, he ended up actually telling me why my account was banned. I don't think he meant to do it on purpose, but he told me. I asked him why it wasn't just rolled back like many other users, and he stated that he couldn't look into it because it cannot be reviewed anymore, and then just closed the chat on me. And I honestly don't think I'd ever been more angry at a company as I ever was at that moment. My main account was banned because I had transferred my legit gold that I had earned myself, that I had spent my time working on, from my second account to my main account, and no other reason. So let this be a lesson to you. You agreed to those terms of service, so like that Blizzard phone representative said to me, Blizzard can ban you and will ban you at any point in time they want and for any reason. But the biggest slap in the face to the Diablo 3 community wasn't that they banned thousands upon thousands of users that day who didn't deserve to be banned. The biggest slap was that only days after the mass bans was that Blizzard put Diablo 3 on sale, so everyone who was banned could buy the game again and make the company more money. Checkmate, Blizzard. Well guys, that's it for this video. If you liked this, don't forget to toss it a thumbs up and subscribe, and also check out my other content, as it really does help out my channel.